Hello, Father Fred here today. Today we're going to take Genesis chapter 25. We're moving right along. Chapter 25 was the J source. It meant that was some writer from the south. For their supreme being, they used Lord, Lord, Lord. Now, in chapter 25, we're going to be the E source, and we're going to have some of the things that's going to make it look a little awkward. Because in the J source, back in 24, well, Daddy Abraham, he's getting ready to leave this earth. And he knows he's got his two promises. He's got the land because he bought that land, you remember, for the grave for his wife. And because we just buried her. And now he's got his son. So what he needs now, just so he can go ahead and pass on, he needs to get a wife for his son. And that was back in 24. So he goes and gets a wife for Isaac. He sends his male main servants. The servant is going to go and find that wife for Isaac. Now, in chapter 24, verse 65, apparently, Abraham is passed on, because when Rebecca comes with the main servant, well, he's not Abraham's servant anymore. Now he is the servant of Isaac, which means you don't have two main servants, or you don't have two main masters. So if Isaac is his main master, Abraham had to have died. So we're going to get along now. We've got the wife. We're going to come meet some of the descendants. We met some of the descendants of Abraham's family. And that's back in chapter 16. If you want to look back there, you can find a little chart, and it shows the family of Abraham. He had two brothers. He had Haran and Nahor. Now, as the family continues on, Abraham says, I want somebody from my own family. He can't be anybody else. And so he's doesn't have many options. So he gets a descendant of Nahor, and Nahor has with his wife, they have some children, and finally we get the grandson of Haran, because it's intermarriage in the family. And gets grandson and granddaughter. The granddaughter is named Rebecca, and the grandson was named Laban. Now, Rebecca's going to be Isaac's wife. She becomes his wife. And Laban is her brother, and he's going to be a scoundrel, we're going to find out. He's happy to have Isaac as his brother-in-law, because he's looking at all the gold bracelets and everything that shows wealth. Chapter 25 is going to be completely different. It's going to sound awkward as we begin, because, well, let's just turn to chapter 25 right now. Open your Bibles to chapter 25 of Genesis, and we're going to look at verse 1 and listen to this. This is going to be something that, remember, when you go from one source to another, they don't have to have anything chronologically, like historically. They pick what this redactor is picking, one here and one here. So here's what he picks now in chapter 25. It's going to be the E source, or somebody from the north. And we read this. Abraham took another wife whose name was Keturah. Now, he was on his deathbed, and he even died back in chapter 24. But that was the J source. That was a writer from the south. The writer from the north is going to tell his story, and it's going to be somewhat different, because now he's going to have children all over again. So we read this, verse 2. His wife is named Keturah. In verse 2, we have, she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. He's got 6 more kids now, when he was dying back there in chapter 24. And it's not contradictory unless you try to read it like historically and like it's coming right off God's lips, because he died back there. Now he's having a new wife and 6 more kids. But it's a different writer. So, verse 3. Jokshan became the father of Sheba and Dedan. The descendants of Dedan were Ashurim, the Letushim, and the Leumanim. The descendants of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldah. All of these were descendants of Keturah. They're descendants of, it has to be an Egyptian wife. At least it wasn't in his family. But these are his children according to the E source. So he passed along in chapter 24. Now 25, he's married again, and he's got 6 kids. Now, that's the end of that part. That's the end of E. Now we're going to go to another section, and to get from another section, we're going to use what we call the redactor, or something that ties onto the first part and goes to the second. So it won't be such a sharp break. So verse 5 is going to be the redactor, or the editor, or the one that's putting these things all together. And he says this: Abraham gave everything that he owned to his son Isaac. So he still got Abraham in there, but now it's not about his children, about all of his new children. It's about his only child, Isaac, only child in the royal family. To the sons of his concubines, however, going to have to give them something. He gave gifts while he was still living, as he sent them away eastward to the land of Kedem, away from his son Isaac. He doesn't want his son to have anything to do with these concubines. The father would say, don't do as I do, do as I say. Verse 7 becomes the priestly source now, and we're going to change from back there with those wives with Keturah. Now we're going to be changing to the priestly source, and it's going to be telling us something different. It's been tied together by the redactor. Verse 7. The whole span of Abraham's life was 127. The whole span of Abraham's life was 175 years. When you start finding those numbers of how old somebody is, you're going to be with the priestly source. Then he breathed his last, and dying at the ripe old age, grown old after a full life, and he was gathered to his people. So he's just now dying in 25, but he already died back in 24. 2 different writers. Verse 9. His sons Isaac and Ishmael. You remember now, Isaac is with Rebekah, Ishmael was with Hagar, and she was the Egyptian. So Isaac gets to be the one that gets all of the property, and Ishmael, he's just going to have to go off and fend for himself. Verse 10, verse 9 again. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave at Machpelah. You remember Machpelah is the land where he buried his wife. In the field of Ephron, son of Zohar, the Hittite, which faces Mamre. Verse 10. The field that Abraham had bought from the Hittites, there he was buried next to his wife, Sarah. So we've gone all the way now from Adam, through Noah, now through Abraham, and now we got Isaac and got him married. Now, there's going to be a shift now. We're going to tell all of the descendants of Ishmael, and to do that, we're going to have a redactor right in the middle. And the redactor says, these are the descendants of Abraham's son, Ishmael, whom Hagar, the Egyptian, Sarah's slave, bore to Abraham. You know, I was just thinking, when they buried Abraham, there was Isaac and there was Ishmael. Ishmael didn't go off, or if he did, he came back. He came back for his daddy's funeral. But the redactor says this: these are the descendants. When you see these words, these are the descendants, you're changing from one section to another, one topic to another, and this editor is putting it in there to make it go more smoothly. Verse 13. Now we got the priestly source. These are the names of Ishmael's sons, listed in the order of their birth. Ishmael's firstborn, Nebaioth, Kedar, Adbeel, and Midsam. Verse 14, just listing them a little at a time. Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. There are 12 of them. Going to be 12 for him, just like there were 12 for Isaac, 12 for Ishmael. Only his are going to be with the tent people. They'll be. This is the starting for the Muslim. This is the starting of they're the basis for their faith through Ishmael. They believe in Abraham just like Christians do. Only we go through Isaac, they go through Ishmael. These are the sons of Ishmael, their names by their villages and encampments. 12 chieftains, just like 12 with Isaac. 12 chieftains of as many tribal groups. There were 12 tribes from Ishmael and 12 tribes from Isaac. The only difference is Isaac has a kingdom. Ishmael has the best he can do, whatever he can get by with. Verse 17, the span of Ishmael's life was 137 years. After he breathed his last and died, he was gathered to his people. So now Ishmael's gone. Verse 18, the Ishmaelites ranged from Havilah by Shur, which is on the border of Egypt, all the way to Asher, and they pitched camp alongside the various kindred. Right on along, goes as far up as Israel does, but it's going to be off to the side. Now, we're going to go on. We're going right down the family tree now. Now they're going to have some children. And let's look at verse 19. And look at verse 19. This is the redactor. Read these words. These are the descendants of Isaac, son of Abraham. Now, I would like for you to go back to verse 12 and see where the redactor was. He says, these are the descendants of Abraham's son Ishmael. Now we've got, these are the descendants of Isaac. So we've got Ishmael's descendants. Now we're going to get Isaac's descendants. And Isaac, well, this is interesting. Let's look at verse 19 again was the redactor. He's putting them together. He's taken different sources and making a story out of it. So verse 19 again says, these are the descendants of Isaac, son of Abraham, and Abraham begot Isaac. Now, we've got that. We're tied in. And here are going to be not the sons of Isaac, but the sons of Abraham. See how he ties the two together. Verse 21 says, and this is going to be the J source again, the Yahweh from the south. Isaac entreated the Lord on behalf of his wife since she was sterile. Sound familiar? Just like with Abraham and Sarah, only this one, Rebekah, she's also sterile. The Lord heard his entreaty, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. So it's a little bit different, a little bit easier for them. They don't have to go through all of these different maids and all things to get a child, like to get Ishmael. They don't have to get an Egyptian maid. So she became pregnant. Verse 22, but, now when you see the word but, sometimes it means something's going to be coming that's not so good maybe. But the children jostled each other in the womb so much that she exclaimed, if it's like this, why go on living? She must have been a pansy. She's complaining. You've been comfortable with twins jostling in your stomach, but in your body. But why live? I mean that's pretty dramatic. She went to consult the Lord. So what's going on? She's got to find out. So she's going to go talk to the Lord. And when you see the word Lord, it's going to be from the south. She went to consult with the Lord. And the Lord answered her. And here's what he says. He says this: 2 nations are in your womb. 2 nations. Now, Abraham is going to have 1 nation. She's going to have 2 in her. 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples are separating while still within you. They're going to have some, they're not going to get along. But one will be stronger than the other. One's going to be stronger. Wonder which one you think it is going to be. And the older will serve the younger. The older will serve the younger. So usually it's supposed to be the one that gets all of the inheritance, or that one gets half the inheritance and all the others together get half. So the one that is born first is supposed to have the inheritance of the father. But listen to this. But one will be stronger than the other, and the one that's going to be stronger is not the one that comes out first. And the older will serve the younger. Now, Rebecca knows that there's going to be like there's going to be 2 nations fighting each other. She's the only one that knows. They don't know. She doesn't tell anybody, or at least we don't know that she tells anybody. She's keeping this in her mind. 2 nations are going to come out of me, and they're not going to get along. When the time of the delivery came, there were twins in her womb, just like you'd expect. Now listen to this one. The first to emerge was reddish, red in color. And that's going to play red all the way through. And his whole body was like a hairy mantle. It's going like a wolf. So they named him Esau. Now, why would they name him Esau? Because Esau also means red. And his kingdom is going to be in Edom. He's going to be over the Edomites. And Edom means red. And in Edom, the land is red, like up in between Oklahoma and Texas, the Red River, the sand there is red. So they named him Red, and he's going to be the chief of the people that live in the red land. Not the Indians, not red men, but red land. Verse 26. Next his brother came out, gripping Esau's heel. First one came out, he's the oldest, but the second one, not going to let it get him away. He's got him by the heel. He's not going to just get him by the heel. He's going to get everything that belongs to him. He's going to rob his brother of his birthright. Next, his brother came out, gripping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. Jacob is going to be the one that the Lord is with him and going to take care of him. Jacob is going to be special, but he's going to be dishonest. In the scriptures, the heroes are not without blemish. They all have their weaknesses and their deceit. That verse again, 26. Next the brother came out, gripping Esau's heel, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. 60 years old. And he was 37 when he got married. He's kind of slow in having children. Verse 27. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter. Esau, a man of the open country, whereas Jacob was a simple man. Now, simple here just supposed to mean innocent, but he's not he's making him look maybe innocent, but he's not going to be innocent. We read that again. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, whereas Jacob was a simple man who stayed among the tents. These people lived in the tents out in the desert. In Edom, they're going to live. Verse 28. Isaac preferred Esau. Daddy liked Esau because he was fond of game. He liked to eat the food that Esau could bring home. But Rebekah preferred Jacob. Now, Rebekah prefers Jacob, and she's already heard there's 2 nations warring inside you. So the nation that she's going to pick it's going to be Jacob, no matter how trickery they have to use. Verse 29. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Jacob stays home, he's cooking. So Esau came in from the open country famished. He's just hungry. He's been out killing animals and he's hungry. So he comes in and he said to Jacob, let me gulp down some of that red stuff. Look at here. He's going to eat some red stuff. His name's Red. He's going to go be the leader in the red land. And he wants some of this red stuff. I'm famished. That is why he is called Edom. He's going to get some red stuff. And he's called Esau and he's called Edom because he's going to be the leader of the Edomites, and they both mean red. And he wants to eat some of that red stuff, and that red stuff is going to be the start of his downfall. But Jacob replied, first sell me your birthright as firstborn. He's telling him this, I'll give you some of this red stew, but you give me your birthright. Now, Jacob is going to be the hero. But you see what he's doing here. I'll give you some stew if you'll give me your birthright. But Jacob replied, sell me your birthright as firstborn. Look, said Esau, I am at the point of dying. They get dramatic in here. I'm at the point of dying. What good is the right as firstborn to me? What good is it if I'm going to die? Well, he's not going to die. But this is the storyteller. But Jacob said, swear to me first. So he sold Jacob his right as firstborn under oath. So Jacob now gets his birthright. He's going to get the inheritance. And here's old Esau. He's not going to get anything. But just one more verse. This is short. Jacob then gave him some bread and the lentil stew. It was red stew. And Esau ate, he drank, he got up, and he went on his way. So Esau treated his right as firstborn with disdain. But I guess, you could say it was disdain, but he was hungry. And when that guy gets hungry, he gets hungry. So we've got the story starting now. Esau's supposed to be the one that's going to get the birthright. Esau's going to also get the father's blessing. And he's going to lose that also if he's not careful in the next chapter. And Rebekah knows all of this. Rebekah knows that she likes Jacob. And so she is going to work. Well, we'll just have to wait and see that. Don't miss next week, because we're going to find out some more about this. Jacob's not the best guy in town, but he's God's chosen person. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next week. God bless. Have a beautiful day.